Listen, I know you have dishes. I know you have laundry. Put your headphones on, put your earbuds on, or just chill on the couch. We're going to have some fun. This is episode number 5 of Mr. Elmore's Music Lab, the podcast. So let's talk about something that I think is one of the most important musical pillars you can develop. Musical pillar is just part of your system, how you grow, how you get better, right? So we should be striving for in all aspects of life. Now, I want you to definitely drop a comment. My favorite part of this podcast so far has been all the interaction, all the stories shared. So I definitely encourage that. If you want to just listen, that's great too. So this is all about playing music with other people. This is a whole new realm, a whole new world. This changes everything on guitar. So I've got some points I want to hit with you in here. I want you to think about these. Definitely whatever resonates with you, hop on there and drop a comment. All right, so you can practice guitar for years, and the moment you play with another human being, everything you thought mattered suddenly doesn't. And everything you ignored suddenly matters a lot. We're gonna hit what I'm talking about here. So a lot of these things aren't talked about enough. Like practicing alone feels safe, almost too safe. Playing with people feels exposing. It's risk, right? A lot of people don't want to take these risks. The fear is normal, okay? It's not a weakness. You know those like healthy butterflies of energy you get? That's what I want you to experience with, playing music with others. So if you ever felt stuck on guitar, this might be why, okay? So let's just dive right into this. This is just kind of how I broke it up. This is kind of how I play music live with my bands and how I operate as a musician human. I just kind of improv. So here's why progress stalls in isolation, meaning you just sit in your room your whole life and play guitar by yourself, which, hey, I am not knocking that by any means. The fact you're even playing a guitar, I clap for you, okay? I give you a gigantic hug. All right, so isolation removes friction, right? And the friction is where growth lives, okay? So listen to what I say here, and I want you to really think on a deeper level about this. When you're practicing alone, it gives you total control, right? You control the tempo, you control all the mistakes, you control the repetition, you control when you stop, you control when the music goes, you control where the space is not. There's no real consequences to that. There's no accountability. I love that word accountability because I almost feel like one thing I love about having this channel is it holds me accountable to show up for you guys and try and help all of us grow as musicians, as human beings. There's no need to adapt in real time. That's one of the most beautiful things about playing with humans. And we're going to get into like all kinds of ideas around this. So practicing alone is not bad. Like I said, it's necessary, but it's incomplete by itself. So you're building part of your pillar, but I'm always preaching on here to go deeper, right? To take a simple concept and go deeper. Now, playing with another human being, that can be a very complex thing because now you're dealing with another human and you have the emotions involved in that. But remember too, comfort disguises itself as progress, okay? So familiarity can feel like improvement and you can sound good without being useful. So nothing pushes back at you when you're alone. You can sound good without being useful. And I'm going to give you like real world examples and a few of them that happened recently as a couple of days ago about playing music with others. So just stick around, okay? At some point, music has to leave your room. That's kind of my hope for all of you. I hope you just get a taste of it just once, all right? And then trust me, once you get the first taste, you're going to be hooked for life, and that's it. And that's an amazing thing. That's like what I think the world needs more is more musicians like you out in the world, sharing your music, sharing your art. All right, so this is something I really thought about. Bedroom, I want you to think about this. Your bedroom playing muscle versus your band live muscle. Now, I don't remember. I feel like it was Tom Bukovac talking about Guthrie Trapp's live playing muscle, which is off the charts, right? So your bedroom muscle kind of looks like stopping and restarting, fixing mistakes immediately, playing for yourself, you're focusing on notes, you're collecting information. A lot of these like threads I'm pulling from the first few podcasts, right? This all ties together. Short bursts of effort, but like your band live muscle looks like staying in time no matter what, right? If you are on a stage, and this doesn't matter if you're playing for one person or 100,000 or 20 or whatever, staying in time no matter what. I've said multiple times, like, no human musician is perfect. Perfection is fake. It does not exist in the world or in music. So you can't stop. You turn what are called mistakes, you turn them into music. That's your level of musicality. That is a huge growth period for you as a musician. Committing even when it's uncomfortable. Like, okay, now you've got other people listening to you, you're listening to them, and you have to commit even when something doesn't feel right. But that's gonna grow. You're gonna grow as an artist, as a human. That's the beautiful part about playing music with other people. It's so much deeper than just the music part. Like, it's human interaction, which is so lost in this world. So you have to hold one part for long stretches. So you got the endurance factor. You got to lock in with others. There is absolutely nothing better in the world than when you're like locked in with your fellow musicians like a machine. You're like a well-oiled machine, okay? And it doesn't happen overnight. You got to show up just like you show up by yourself in practice. You got to show up together as a group and use teamwork, and you've got to serve the good of the art, the song. So this means playing through the mistakes. So if the drummer and bass player playing, you're playing guitar and singing or whatever instrumentation you have, you can't stop. So you got to ask yourself, like, drop in the comments right now. Let me ask you whether you've done this and you're playing with others or you've never played with others. What do you do? Can you stop? You can't, but what do you do? So what you do is you turn those mistakes. You got to find new pathways, new musical pillars. Mistakes become a part of the DNA of whatever you're creating. So they're both musical muscles, but they are not the same. Like, even when I'm in here doing the music videos or the instructional videos, I'm usually sitting down. But at band practice, I'm standing up playing. Try it one time. Take something you play that's a little difficult sitting down, stand up like you're playing with a band or a group, and try playing that standing up and just see what I'm talking about. So it's two different muscles. They're both great. But my ultimate goal is to get you to push yourself to the high, like to the most uncomfortable level of playing music with others. All right. So feeling worse when playing with others is totally normal. Okay. I started playing with others from a very, very early. My whole mission was to be in a band right off the get-go. That was why I even played guitar. I wanted to be in a band, and I was. I was in a 4-piece rock band. The guitar player, luckily for me, had played for about 15 to 20 years, something along there. He was older than me, and I had just played for like a year and a half. But I was a maniac with my bedroom practice. But that's where I really learned that live band human being muscle, like playing with others. So you feel kind of insecure. So that's going to be a total normal thing. But I want you to do this. You got to get those early stages out so you can start building your confidence. And then when you go in your bedroom, you're going to be absolutely crushing it. You're not regressing. And remember, you're using a new muscle. So if you've never done this before, trust me, you're going to absolutely love it. It will feel uncomfortable. You will feel a little insecure, but you're going to figure it out. So, and listen, the fastest way to build your playing live or playing with others muscle is to play with other people. All right, so what playing with others forces you to develop? The core idea is other musicians kind of act like a mirror to you. Here's what I mean. So when you're playing in a room with others, let's just set up, like right now I'm playing in a 3-piece rock band with this husband and wife. Fritz, the drummer, Bernadette, she's the bass player, and I'm playing guitar. Bernadette and I both sing. And so like a very raw 3-piece, simple, right? That's an amazing thing too. But like if you're playing with other people, it exposes when you have weak time, meaning your rhythm is not tight. And that's okay. It's not going to be great in the beginning. When you're rushing or dragging. Now, great music. Think about this. Think about one of your favorite songs. And if it's a rock-oriented song, not a pop song, but more like live performance style artists, I bet you they probably didn't play to a click track. There's push and pull in that. So I was in a band touring in the 90s. So all my favorite artists are from then and before because my mom was a music teacher. And they didn't play to click tracks. Everything was like that live feel, push and pull. So that's what I want you to experience too. So what that does is it's easy for you to lock into a click track. Now here's a huge one. Think about this. Overplaying. When you're by yourself, you can overplay and fill up as much space as you want. But I've said many times, and the best artists will say this, the space is just as important, if not more important, than the music. Because space, what does it do? Space leaves space, and it allows for maximum impact whenever you're writing music or art. You know, if everything's just filled up with noise, it doesn't have as much of an impact. It all becomes white noise. But when you're in a band, you can't do that. Also, not listening. So the other musician that you're playing with, they're going to teach you how to be a better listener on a musician level. It's going to make you a better listener in life in general. You have to listen, because what you're trying to do is, I really have one rule for anybody that I work with or play with, because I've produced records. I've played as a studio musician. I've toured in bands. I've played multiple format style bands and different genres. You have to serve the good of the song, right? So that really teaches you those are the kind of people you want to play with too. And I'll just throw this since I'm on the topic. If somebody is coming from a place of unhealthy ego, the look at me ego, get rid of them. Don't play with them. You'll find the right people, okay? So you got to have this mental shift. Like, you got to start thinking like this. You stop asking, what cool thing can I play? You start asking, like, where do I fit? What does the song need? See, this goes right back to what I just said. Everything has to be for the good of the song. And here's the beauty of this. When you have every artist together, or whoever you're playing with, if you're all on the same page mentally for the good of the song, that is an amazing energy that gets created, because nobody's playing for the satisfaction of their own ego, right? Every human has ego. You need ego to advance, but you want to function from a healthy ego. Would love to hear some of your horror stories of people you've played with that were like awful from an ego standpoint. Like, here's a good example. If I wrote 100 songs and I didn't have one guitar solo, oh no, I don't have a guitar solo, but the songs crush and they move people and they're great songs, I'm good. I don't need to play a guitar solo for the rest of my life. That's it, all right? So think like that. Now, I want to also encourage you to do this. Shifting into kind of the framework for this, different formats kind of give you different lessons. So here, like right now, I'm playing in a 2-piece, like acoustic group with my friend Max and I, so no percussion. So that forces you to be even tighter. That's probably the most raw, stripped down form. Not by yourself, because you can still kind of push and pull at your speed by yourself. But if you're playing with another musician, like let's say it's 2 guitars. So in this case, Max plays electric and I play acoustic. He's covering all kind of the frost parts. We both sing, but like we really have to figure out our arrangement. So it grows your mental musicianal mind too. You like that word that I just made up, musicianal? Musician mind? Meaning like you really think like out of the box. You get really creative. Like, that space really matters. Your responsibility really increases. Even my rock band that I ended up in, that I toured with, we used to play coffee shop gigs, but we did acoustic versions. Like, that's why I miss like MTV days so much. Like, the unplugged sessions were incredible, where they would take the huge, powerful songs and strip them down to an acoustic arrangement, and the drummer would grab brushes. I love that stuff. A 3-piece rock band, 4-piece rock band, so meaning 3-piece, I think, let's say like traditional 3-piece bands like the Police, or a band with bass, drums, and guitar, and the guitar player and bass player sing. Drop some other ones in there. 4-piece bands, 2 guitars, maybe a lead singer, bassist. Well, this would technically be 5-piece, but I'm talking about from a musical standpoint. What about bands with keys or horns? Depending on the genre, like think back to some of the best R&B players. My dad used to listen to tons of Motown stuff. And if you really think about those guitar players, like they were incredible, which makes sense to me why James Brown would say like every instrument's a drum set. because his guitars had cool little repetitive licks or little lines, and they were all about the groove. It was like the groove they created on the guitar or their instrument. So ska bands, like a horn section, it all ties right into recording too. Like when you're in the studio, you have to learn how to give space and how to work and serve the good of the song. But all the stuff I'm talking about, which I'm going to book in here in a minute, it helps you start to build the skill set you're going to need. Because a lot of you have asked, how did you do session stuff? What's it like being in a big studio? When you made records or you toured or you played. I've played all kinds of huge shows, little shows, backyard shows. In fact, my first gig ever was at my own house in my backyard. I was so nervous, I puked. I puked right before the set. And then I remember we played like 9 cover songs, and then I was hooked for life. This is what I'm telling you. You do this once, even if you play for one person and you give them some joy, this is what I want for you. I want you to have this, playing with others, all right? So yeah, there was no pressure in my backyard. The only pressure was really what I put on myself. My band too, like later on down the road, 2 to 3 years, we were all living in the same house and we were playing 6-7 nights a week sometimes. If you really look back too, on the story of the Beatles, you Beatle connoisseurs will probably know more than me, but I believe they were in Germany playing like 7 nights a week for years. So no wonder when they kind of hit mainstream, they were already like this well-oiled machine. But that's what you get by playing with others. You're kind of like the magic of the human connection. Like, I feel sad right now, and tell me if you agree with this in a certain sense. I feel like social media and technology are robbing a lot of musical acts that could have come together if more people wouldn't isolate and create together as opposed to being isolated. Anyways, I'm just kind of spitballing, but it was amazing. I couldn't believe like how tight we got. But when music becomes a part of your daily life with other people, you get good a lot faster, on almost by accident. It just happens. It's just built in to like your growth period will really accelerate. And what's cool is then when you're playing by yourself, you've almost kind of reframed or re-geared your brain and you practice more efficiently by yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, I get this question a lot about backing tracks. Meaning, and I've thrown out a few on the channel, meaning like I can go into my DAW, like let's say Logic or Pro Tools, and I can whip you up a bass and a drummer track. Now, those are going to be to a set tempo. So think of it like it's a backing track is like a bridge, right? It's not really a destination. And I think backing tracks help a lot. Don't get me wrong. They're much more inspiring to just play to a click, 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 click. Like, so I think that's great. But backing tracks help, but they don't replace people, okay? So what backing tracks do well is they take control away from you. They force you to stay in time, and they force you to follow a form, and they introduce commitment. I get a ton of questions on here, and think about this. I'd love for you to drop in the comments from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest. How would you rate your improv skills? And this is really the playing live with other people. I think the reason I became so good at improv is because I started in a band from like day one, even when I wasn't that good of a guitarist yet. And I did get pretty good pretty fast, but I was doing like 8 hours a day because I had a mom as a music teacher, so I had other pressures on me. Not by her, it's just how I am as a person, just wanting to succeed at the highest level. I just don't accept mediocrity. I never will in anything I do, nor do I want you to accept that. But, the backing tracks are great. So definitely record yourself. The sooner you can get into that, and we'll try and do more stuff here on the channel. So if you're new here, stick around. Would love to keep you forever. Team Jellyfish for the win. What they don't do too is like, backing tracks, there's no reaction. There's no real push or pull. They don't judge you, so that's nice, but you don't want to play with someone that judges you. But they also... they don't really create a responsibility for you to show up and learn how to do these things, like how to give space, how to play the right parts. So backing tracks show you what playing with a band feels like, but like people or humans, they finish the job. They're like the cherry on top. And once you start playing with people, something's going to change immediately for you. You're going to be like, oh, so I really want you guys to experience this. All right. So real like music priorities flip. So timing, listening. I love the word simplicity. So what suddenly matters is timing matters more, like rhythm matters more than technical chops, right? I don't know about you guys, but I'm just so over like all the fast shred stuff. It doesn't leave any kind of lasting impact. Somebody that plays something in time, like a killer chord progression, man, that is where it's at, right? So listening, becoming a good listener matters a lot more than the licks you're creating, because the parts or licks you create, the riffs, are going to be determined by your level of listening as you're now working with other people. Simplicity always beats complexity. Unless you're in Tool and you want to play like crazy time signatures or a fusion band or Dream Theater or something. You guys that are big fans of those guys. But the simple parts always work, right? Like certain chords are going to be used forever because they're just like the backbone of music. Simplicity, but you can still produce simplicity to the next level thing. And that's kind of the fun of playing with a group of people. You're in the hunt together for the good of the song, right? It's always going to roll back to for the good of the song. It's that mentality as a group, teamwork, right? So space like becomes musical, all right? And I just want to share while we're on this topic, a really quick story. So Fritz Bernadette and I, we haven't been together too long. We should practice more, and we actually talked about it. We had a practice on Sunday. So we threw out the idea of playing Message in a Bottle by The Police. So we're doing some covers. We'll add some originals, but when you play with other people too, it's totally natural. Hey, let's jam these songs we already know. You build your chemistry. That's huge, right? You build your cohesive vibe, your musicality together. But we were going to add that song, and that has a crazy hard riff. And it doesn't sound simple, but, you know, you kind of hear the riff, and then, you know, you realize it's pretty brutal in reality. I'm talking from endurance part. If you've ever played that riff, it's got these, like, spread fifths and these nines in it, and it's just, like, it's crazy, like, it's hard. It's hard endurance-wise. So I had to kind of figure out in the heat of battle how to do it. But that's the beauty too. Like you start to develop this like level of communication of how to put something together. So that's the fun part, is figuring out with a team as opposed to by yourself how to come up with an arrangement that's impactful. So you're building your endurance and your consistency, and then that part has to work for the rest of the group too. So this goes into what I just kind of said to loop back, is like, you're serving the good of the song, whether it's an original. Now, personally, myself, I will take any cover song I do. I don't know how you are and what you think about it, but I will play what's true to the song, where if somebody hears it, they're going to know. I won't change the arrangement to the level of the song's not recognizable. But I love working with other musicians that are solid musicians that I love playing with. That's key too. Play with who you love. And we make the song our own, and that makes you perform it at a higher level. It lifts up the whole group, because teamwork is key. But we kind of hacked our way through it, and then my hand almost fell off by the end of practice. But it was amazing too, because as we went through it, and we did record it, I'll have to share it with you. It was very rough. We set up a couple of random mics in the room. And so definitely record yourself too when you start working with other people. But the song doesn't like... You know, sometimes the song doesn't test your fingers. It tests like your commitment to like the endurance part of the song, or the time it takes to come up with the arrangement. But again, when you play with other people, you really work as a team to figure this stuff out. And I have another story too. When I first started playing in my very first band, there was a song that had this offbeat part. And you guys know when you come on off, when you're younger and learning, it's easy to find the downbeat. But playing something on the offbeat is a little tricky. So there was an older guy. Instead of kind of closing myself off and like quitting or giving up, I had this older guy. I asked him. He was this amazing guitar player, and I still remember him to this day because he gave me this kind of tip to help me figure out how to like hear the offbeat better. And to this day, I'll never forget that. But again, it ties into the the playing with other people, I felt insecure and kind of exposed because I didn't want to butcher the song and feel like a jerk. But in all reality, you have to give yourself a little bit of empathy and leeway because this is a skill set. This is a muscle you're going to have to develop. This is a musical pillar you're going to have to develop. So don't be afraid. I don't ever let fear stop you, but he helped me. He was an older guy. There was no judgment. And that learning happened like person to person. So even though this guy wasn't playing in the band with me, he was there to help mentor me. And then I crushed that song forever moving forward in that band. And then anytime I came across something that had that kind of feel or vibe, I was able to crush it because, I'd let my insecurities and my bad feelings drift away. And I just focused on, okay, resilience. I'm going to buckle down and I'm going to get this. So I want you guys to adopt. It's like a growth mindset, right? So just remember too, playing with people teaches you when not to play. And it's cool, man. I love like leaving a little space. I don't need to play every second. Depends. On a 3-piece, you got to fill a little more room because you're a rhythm guitar, lead guitar, you're the whole thing. And I'm singing lead vocals, so that's a whole nother ball of wax. All right. So trust, reliability, and preparing your future. So we're going to kind of bookend this real quick. So the reason I wanted to really present this to you is because you might not know what you don't know. Maybe one day you want to play in other people's records. Maybe one day you want to produce records. Maybe one day you're going to deal with other people. So the sooner you can get to playing with other people, the better you're going to develop these muscles, these skill sets. Like when it comes to like a studio musician thing, now I never played like on major label releases, like a lot of indie releases, and I worked with a lot of producers, and the reason I always got called back is I was prepared. I had good rhythm. I was nice, kind, and respectful. Don't be a jerk. Nobody wants to hang out with a jerk. I would usually give them an A and B version. There's this big myth that like you're always reading music, but you're not. Probably some of the best session guys in the world don't even read a lick of music. Most of your favorite artists don't read music, and really more like chord progressions and charts. But that's like playing with another human too. A lot of times it's a producer sitting in a chair trying to convey an idea, and then you use all your skills in your toolbox, your musical catalog, and you show them how you're going to support the song and make the song better for the artist. So you got to check your ego at the door. Another quick story, because it just popped in. I remember there was this younger kid who was in on a session. He was a guitar player, and he went to like Berkeley or something, like one of those higher end schools or GIT. And he was clearly in the room. This was before, while the drummer was setting up the kit, and there's a lot of prep, and he was clearly kind of showcasing. You could tell when somebody's playing like, look at me, listen to me. And I remember hearing the producer tell one of the engineers and one of the people in the session, like, we don't want him back again because like he wasn't there to serve the good of the song. And then I actually got to have a word with him later to kind of teach him a lesson, like, hey man, it's the most important thing actually is like you're here because you've got the skills, but you got to have the people skills too. So just remember that. Flashy players don't last. Reliable players always last. So if you ever want to go down that path, just kind of remember that. But just put in all the reps, build the muscle of playing with others, and you're going to be fine. So like, yeah, playing with others prepares you for studios, sessions. You might want to produce. It's a great skill set if you work as a producer. I produced these 2 sisters singles when I was working down in Florida, and a couple of them they both ended up in Nashville. But long story short, all my guitar skills that I used playing in bands helped me. It just served me well as a producer to convey thoughts, ideas in a respectful way, because my goal was to lift them up, to make them the best versions of themselves, which is what I want for you. So like collaborate with others, co-write. You might want to be a songwriter one day. You might end up in one of the markets where those are needed. We're always going to need writers, collaborators, like doors you don't even know you want yet. You're going to be developing the skills you need for those as they pop up. Nobody cares how impressive you are. They care if you can listen, if you can adapt. And this is the most important word here, deliver. You have to be able to deliver. So this is like the mantra. I'm going to say it. You say it twice. Do it for the good of the song, not for your ego. One more time. So true, though. Do it for the good of the song and not for your ego. I think if you can like burn that in your brain for the rest of your life, you're going to absolutely crush it. All right. So just to kind of like give you some practical like on ramps to this, just start small. Okay. I feel sad when people are like, I can't play with, yes, you can. Listen, talk to your friends of friends. You can go to music stores and just say straight up, hey, I'm a newer musician. I'd love to find someone I can play with. Go to open mic nights. Now, these were much more abundant when I was, playing back in the day. Go to find jam nights. Go to coffee shops. Go to any kind of community spaces. I promise you, somebody knows somebody who knows somebody that would love to play music with you. And if you can play with somebody who's a nice person that wants to lift you up, that has more experience than you, then that's a great thing too. So do the duo thing, 2 guitars, or find somebody that plays percussion. Like start on a simple, minimal level. Everything goes back to simplicity. Even like when I write a song, started it on a piano, a guitar, an acoustic guitar, or like with a beat. I'm not very good at drums yet, but I'm trying. All right. So like define your expectations early when you sit down, get that line of communication. Don't play with them for 6 months and then start to have some feelings build up. Like put your expectations, your goals. Always, choose kindness and reliability. And then like don't wait for perfect, because remember, perfect is fake. It doesn't exist. So just find somebody that inspires you to play too. So everyone has reasons for not playing live with others. I want you to drop those reasons. I want you to look at them honestly. And listen, most bands don't start because everyone's amazing. They start because someone asked. Look back to all your favorite artists. It was something as simple as so-and-so hangs out with so-and-so. Hey, you want to jam with our band? Every single band starts like that. You might be starting the next massive band that everyone in the world knows. You might not. You might just get the thrill of your life playing and creating music with others. Do it for that first. Always remember, check your ego at the door and do it for the good of the song, the good of the project. Whew, this is a long podcast, but this is an important one. So remember, we're going to slow down a bit here. Just remember, just kind of bookend this. The goal isn't being great. The goal is creating music, right? Music makes the world a better place. I fully believe that. And your voice matters a lot. I would love to hear your voice. Your fans are out there waiting for you. Number one rule of playing with other people isn't being great. It's just creating music for the world to hear, like I just said. All right, so listen, you don't build confidence by waiting around. So I want you to take action, okay? I want you to come back here, or whatever video I drop on the channel, I want you to tell us. We want to hear your story. Who are you playing with? When's your single coming out? When's the band loading in the van and touring? All right. I really opine for those days to come back. If you're younger and you weren't alive in the 90s or old enough to be in a band, and for those that were, or the 80s, or you guys, it was one of the greatest times of my life. Some of my best, most amazing memories were being in a band, touring and playing shows, or little backyards, or little funky little areas where the band could fairly fit. The disastrous gigs were amazing. The great gigs, it's all amazing. Playing music with other people will be one of the most amazing things you can ever experience. So I want you to get at it. Drop jellyfish or your favorite sea creature in the comments. If you're new here, I hope you stick around. Let me know what you're thinking of the podcast. You guys are amazing. Keep at it, all right? Only you can stop you. Don't stop. I will see you. Peace.